Welcome back to another edition of Sunday Flags. I'm your co-host, Mason Kinnahan. That over there is Luke Brown, and the first signature event on the PGA Tour here in 2026 has wrapped up in Pebble Beach, where Collin Morikawa came away with the victory. What a Sunday of action. Multiple different leaders, multiple different co-leaders for a second there. Potentially world number one was involved to potentially win this thing. A lot of great action, not only on the PGA Tour, but also, can't believe I'm going to say this, on Live as well. We'll get to that towards the end. Luke, just first thoughts here. We'll start with the PGA Tour and Pebble Beach. Thoughts on the week overall. Thoughts on, Collin picking up his first win in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it just did not disappoint. It did not disappoint at all. Pebble Beach is always kind of a treat, something that the players look forward to. We look forward to watching at Pebble Beach, and it didn't disappoint. I would say that this is probably the single, I don't know. I'm actually interested in your thoughts. The single most kind of relevant day in golf so far in 2026. Obviously, you've got Brooks, and that whole deal kind of shifted things too. And that was golf was kind of the talk of sports for the day that day. But I would say across the board, because no Super Bowl, because no football, golf was kind of at the forefront today, and that was really fun.
Yeah, it really was. And I would agree. I think just tournament-wise and results-wise, so like on-course-wise, I think today was definitely the biggest day that golf has had here in 2026 so far. Again, Collin Morikawa, who was 8 back after Friday, storms back with a huge weekend, shooting a 64, or I believe, yeah, a 64 on, a 62 on Saturday, and then 67 on Sunday. Look, Collin has been one of the most, you could say, bipolar players in terms of play over the last few years. A player that was, up there in the top 5 in the world. Was he number 1 at one point? I believe he was. I think he was number 1 at one
Yeah,
point.
I would say yes.
I think he was. A 3-time Ryder Cupper, 2-time major winner. His last win came at the Zozo Championship all the way back in October of 2023. And this is he's only had one top 10 finish since the Masters last year. And he comes away with a huge win at Pebble Beach. Again, the first signature event of the year, and one where a lot of stuff happened throughout the weekend. Akshay Bhatia led the field on heading into the final 18 holes by 3.
When are we going to get your man Akshay a win?
It's been a couple years. I thought this was the one. He's won on tour a couple of times, but he's been looking for that first big win in a really good field. And you look at not only this week, but there was a couple times last year as well where things got really close, and he kind of blew it towards the end. The 3M Open tournament that I believe was tied for the lead heading into Sunday, finishes T25. So that wasn't great. And then, he's had some top 5, top 10 finishes over, the last few years. But again, hasn't won since 2024. But back to Collin Morikawa. He's someone that has really struggled with the putter and struggled with his game overall, playing consistent golf over the last couple of years. And he put together 4 really consistent rounds at Pebble Beach and ultimately came away with the one-shot victory. Now, down the stretch of this tournament, a lot was happening. You had not only the change in just the different leaders, but on the 18th hole, on the 72nd hole here today, he has to wait on the tee after birdie. I want to say after bogeying 17. No, I think it was a par on 17. But he basically is tied for the lead. No, it was a bogey on 17 because he was tied for the lead going into 18, and then has the chance to win it. It's a par 5 on the 18th hole, and he's sitting on the tee for quite some time waiting for the other groups ahead of him to finish. But then once he hits his tee shot, he has to wait 19 minutes to hit his approach shot because Jacob Bridgman ahead of him just was a mess. He was a mess on that last hole. he ends up with a bogey, but it is one of the best sixes you might have ever seen. He goes over the okay, so he takes his approach shot and he's on the fairway, and then he just completely misses the green left. He is on the beach behind the grandstands that are behind the green. So
That's Pebble Beach.
He has to hit his shot over the grandstands and over not only just the huge cliff, but the grandstands as well to get back onto the green. He couldn't do so, couldn't get it up. The ball then ricochets off of the cliff, a rock, into the ocean. So then he goes all the way back to his very first shot and where the ball originally went out of play on the fairway. So he goes back out. I think he goes 156 yards to the hole. He gets a drop. So now this is his fifth shot, and he puts it to 5 feet and ends with a bogey, which is incredible. But that entire sequence took 19 minutes to wrap up, and he was in the group right before Collin's group. And so Collin was sitting there watching this for 19 minutes and then sends his approach shot just onto the fringe of the green about 25 feet away before, just a little two-putt for a birdie and the win. But man, all that time waiting for Collin, and he gets it done. He gets it done.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a tweet right now. Jacob Bridgman literally playing Pebble Beach, and he's literally standing on the, like literally. I think there's a rules official over there that's got feet in the water. Yeah.
If it was high tide, his ball would be in the ocean.
Yes. Yeah. I literally think looking at. I'm no expert on. Is it oceanography? Is it I don't know. Is that a term? Let's say oceanography. I think that is a term.
Okay.
I'm no expert. I'm no oceanographer, but that looks like that is an area that does get water on the daily. And that ball would be gone. So, yeah, that's wild. That is wild.
Yeah, Bridgman took forever, but Collins had his moments throughout the weekend as well with Saturday, both on the 17th and 18th hole. I don't know if it was Collin. I think he finished pretty early, but I know Akshay's group was really struggling with the ball oscillating and moving on the green just because of how bad the winds were. Now, heading into Sunday, they're expected to be, a lot of winds gusts in the, 30, potentially 40 mile per hour range. Didn't end up being that bad, but still played a pretty good factor in how things went, especially towards the end, because early on, if you had an early tee time, things were working. And someone who did have an earlier tee time, because he was nowhere near the lead, was world number one Scottie Scheffler, who starts the day 7 under through 7 before finishing with a 63. So he goes 2 under the rest of the way. But man, look, the scenes 7 under through 7, and he was 1 back just like that. While the leaders were on the second or third hole, world number one was there. And that's just when you see him on the leaderboard, your mindset changes.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, like looking at how much this leaderboard fluctuated, it made for a really good weekend. And everybody kind of gets excited about it, but it's tough for golfers out there I think that when we go back and look at the tournaments that started, Sony Open and the every tournament that we've talked about up to this point, I would say that up to this point, this has probably been the hardest on the golfers. Looking at the wind conditions, looking at the difficulty, obviously the prestige and all of that of the course, but the difficulty of the course, the way it played this week, the way that the leaderboard fluctuated. I think you're hard pressed if you're Akshay Bhatia to look at the end of the year. I'm talking when we're in August, looking at the hardest tournaments that he played all year, which really is saying something considering we're in mid-February and we're getting to that kind of swing of things. I mean, it feels like the year has just started, but we're a month out from the Players. We're less than 2 months out. I don't know, 7 weeks from the Masters. Man, we're getting to that spot at this point. And the golf was really, really difficult this week. The leaderboard fluctuated a lot, and Scotty's always kind of a constant, and we saw that again this week. Again, every week we find a new way to talk about this guy, and I think I had seen an interview where he said that he was really, really proud of this week. He kind of knew even when he tied the lead, we knew it wasn't going to be him. There's no way that nobody's making a birdie there. Um, I don't know when he finished up. What was Collin on the 13th, 14th hole?
It was
So
probably 15th, yeah, 13th,
yeah,
something like that.
somebody was obviously going to make a birdie. But if I was Scottie Scheffler, I would be pretty darn impressed with myself this week too, and pretty proud of the work that I put together too. Because man, he's so resilient.
Yeah, he is. And, started the week with a 72. We go 72, 66, 67, 63 on Sunday. His Sunday scoring average is at just over 64, which is on the season, which is insane. Crazy from Scottie Scheffler. And, 3 eagles today as well. One on the second hole, the 6th hole, and then wrapping things up on the 18th hole. Such a beautiful approach shot into that 18th green. Going against the wind. He kind of hits a little fade out to the left, and then the wind is able to push it back to the right and gets it to, I think it was like 8 feet, maybe a little bit, 2 feet. It was to 2 feet because he's just that good. Yeah. So it is crazy what Scotty's been able to do, and his top 10 streak was on the line. He had 17 straight tournaments being in the top 10. And, he was outside the top 10 heading into Sunday, moves up the T4, and that is still, again, his numbers are just still absolutely so much better than anyone else. His last 8 starts, win T3, win T4, win T4, win T3. Like that is, he's 8 straight top 5s. And there's no one on the planet that is even touching numbers like this. So, again,
like we thought he was going to miss the cut in Phoenix. Has it been 3 years since his last missed cut?
Maybe he might be getting up the Xanders. Missed cut.
Yeah, we thought he was going to miss the cut, and he nearly won the golf tournament last week. Like, that is how resilient this guy is. According to Justin Ray, Golf on X, Twitter, players in the last 40 years to make 3 eagles in a round at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, Scottie Scheffler. That's it. There's nobody else.
Yeah. I mean, it is crazy. His last missed cut, the FedEx St. Jude Championship in 2022.
Man,
so that it's been almost 4 years, and I don't think he's gonna be missing.
And by the way, he still won a major that year.
Yeah, and we've seen him the last couple of weeks get off to really slow starts, which is not, I wouldn't say super uncharacteristic for Scotty, because he definitely improves as the week goes on. But still, like, it was T80 something last week in Phoenix after the first round. He had to fight his way back on Friday to make the cut. And then I know Pebble Beach is not, an event with a cut, but still he was, I believe, T40, T50, something like that. And he's able to fight his way back. And just such a good Sunday performance from him. The low round of the day as well. So, again, there's nothing that can describe really Scottie Scheffler compared to what we've already said, but just great stuff. Meanwhile, a couple of guys tied for T2. Minwoo Lee shot a 7 under 65 on Sunday, and Sepp Straka, who Straka was in the final group with Morikawa and Akshay Bhatia, he goes 4 under 68. Both of these guys, were fighting, especially Straka was really fighting and goes 4 under in the last 3 holes, birdie, eagle, and 5 under in the last 6 holes to kind of fight his way back into, you could say maybe contention. He eagled the last, which is great. He was never really in it towards the end, but just great stuff from Sepp. And then Minwoo Lee, he was waiting for Collin to finish for forever. It felt like he goes 4 under in the last 6 holes. It was a bogey-free 32 on his way out, and overall just one blemish on the scorecard today. And some more great performances from Minwoo Lee, who's really starting to pick up some consistency with his game and winning on tour for the first time last year. He now goes a T38, T28 in his first 2 events in the last couple of weeks, and now a T2, so his best finish of the season as well. Thoughts on either of these guys?
Yeah, I was really impressed by Minwoo Lee, and yeah, I was impressed with him, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I know he's in the field at Riviera next week.
Yeah, we've got, again, we'll get into, but we've got back-to-back signature events, which, definitely things have escalated a lot in terms of, the field and the quality of these fields. Meanwhile, Tommy Fleetwood, his
And the
first event,
courses.
and yeah, the courses as well. That's a good point. Tommy Fleetwood, 67, 68, 67, 66. Very consistent performance from him. He finishes T4 tied with Scottie at 20 under. And then we'll get to a couple guys at 19 under, Sam Burns, and then the Saturday night leader, Akshay Bhatia, who at one point led by 5 and ultimately was up by 3 heading into Sunday, or 2 maybe heading into Sunday. And
Yes, I think 2.
Oh, it's 2, yeah. 2 heading into Sunday, and ultimately it's a even par 72 for him. So not exactly the performance he wanted. We'll talk about Akshay for a little bit. With him now, it really seems like these Sunday, he seems to really play well on Fridays and Saturdays. And then once you get to Sunday with him, multiple times now he's blown a lead where he's had the Saturday night lead and ultimately not able to convert that into a win. He's now 1 for 4 when he has a Saturday night lead, and he goes on for Sunday. So not exactly the performance Akshay was hoping for on a Sunday, but still 65, 64, 68 to get things started through the week, and really just couldn't find anything. His putter became ice cold. He started his Saturday round 6 under through 7 and was really hot with his putter, but the rest of the way, I think he goes 2 over through the rest of the way in his last 27 holes. So not exactly the performance Akshay was hoping for.
No, and as we just talked about moments ago, like the drought for him is pretty palpable at this point. He's still very young, at just 26 years old, and
23.
I'm sorry,
24,
23.
24, sorry, he just turned 24.
Very young, and has a lot of years in front of him here. But yeah, I think it's time that we see him. I think if he's going to get a win this year, I wouldn't count him out of the field next week, assuming he's in that field. I would assume he is at the Genesis next week. He's a California guy. The weather is not as much of a factor for him as it is for others, and he's used to things out there. He's familiar with those courses. So yeah, I would say considering how he played this week and the promise that he showed, keep an eye on him perhaps for Riviera coming up.
Yeah, T9 last year at Riviera. And also, I kind of want to point out the players when we get to that in about a month. The T3 last year for Akshay, he was really in the mix beyond Spawn and Rory this time last year. So definitely Akshay, his game the last couple of weeks, a T3 in Phoenix, and now a T6 here in at Pebbles. So a couple of really good performances from him, and hopefully you can build on that in the next couple of weeks. Other notable names on the leaderboard, my guy Ryo Hitsasune, a T8 for him, really consistent performances all the way around.
He's really been strong to start the year.
It was a rough Saturday. He shot 2 over 74, but a 62 to get things started, and I thought I was over the moon. We'll get to the predictions board in a second, but I thought it was going to be that guy. Other things, Hideki was also a T8. Rory jumps up 25 spots on Sunday, shooting a 64. He finishes 17 under, which is a T14. Other notable things, Big Tone, solo 18th. He had a really good Sunday. Patrick Cantley, T14.
Nobody calls him that.
People call him Big Tone.
Nobody calls him that.
Yes.
Nobody calls him that.
I've heard it before.
Nobody calls him that. You're gonna start this at some point.
No,
and it's gonna become a thing. It's gonna be like Benny Booms. Nobody calls him Big Tone.
People call him Big Tone.
I've never heard anybody call him Big Tone.
Xander T19, the X app, the guy with the. Do you have the Xander app?
I don't have the Xander Schauffele app. I heard it was. I think it's shutting down.
No way.
I heard some rumblings. I heard rumblings that the Xander Schauffele app was shutting down.
Okay, so he debuts this app in April, which was Masters or the week after Masters week last year, and he hasn't updated it in a while. I believe I could probably still buy it and still get it on my phone.
Well,
because
there hasn't been a ton of material. Maybe I'm just lying. Maybe it's not.
He won the Bay Current.
He did win the Bay Current Classic.
Still available to buy. It is still there. So
I see you don't have it.
I'm buying it now. I'm getting it now. Okay.
You're buying it or just downloading it?
I'm downloading it.
Okay. All right. I was gonna say, I'm not spending 99 cents for the Xander Schauffele app.
Like the last, I've heard the last update of this is like a long time ago. Oh, the review. Okay, there's one review. It says it's 5 stars, and it says this app is life changing. I hope to one day.
This app is life changing.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the review for you. I hope to one day aspire to be as successful and talented as the incredible Xander Schauffele. This app takes me just a couple steps closer. You are able to follow Xander's recent and past rounds, shop all of his affiliate brands, and so much more. Check it out.
It's an industry plant review. The last sentence is like a legitimate ad read for the app.
Another review. The Everything app. Looks like someone finally had the stones to develop the perfect app. Brilliant in every way. No notes.
The perfect app? Why? Okay, if you like Xander Schauffele, I don't not like Xander Schauffele, but I don't need an app. The only thing that I could possibly get from that app is like his results, which are available on the ESPN, PGA Tour, CBS Sports, any of those apps.
Okay, I got one more review. This one's 3 stars, not 5 stars. This is my go-to app. When I'm in the mood to buy a pink polo that Xander wears, this is where I go. Wake up and need a Xander stat, heading to the app. Extremely useful.
Why is it only 3 stars? It sounds like that person loves it.
I don't know.
It's his go-to app.
There's one that's a 2 stars, and he's like, I downloaded this app for exclusive access to the greatest golfer on earth, Xander Schauffele. There hasn't been any news posted in nearly a month now. This was back in June. I don't think they posted anything since April. So
the greatest golfer on earth.
The greatest.
He's not the greatest golfer on earth. I mean, if we want to talk current, obviously Scottie, and Tiger Woods is still on earth. I would say Tiger Woods is probably the greatest golfer on earth.
He also says, what am I supposed to do checking this app 5 times per day and not getting anything?
He's checking the Xander Schauffele app 5 times a day?
That's what
it's
like
says. Sitting down for lunch, it's like, I better check the Xander app. Like, this is this guy's Wordle. 5 times a day? That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous threshold of checking the Xander Schauffele app.
All right,
well, you keep us posted if there's ever any updates. I'm not going to download the Xander Schauffele app.
I will let you know. We'll get to this on Tuesday or Wednesday with my thoughts on the Xander app and what needs improvement.
They're going to write something up about how he's fallen to 13 on official World Golf ranking?
Yeah, speaking of the World Golf rankings, Collin Morikawa moves up to 5th.
Yes, he does, from 16, where he finished the year, and 19, where he was last week. Yeah, that's a lot of points.
It is super close, between like 30 and 5, it feels like, or 20 and 5.
30, yeah. I would.
One of these guys wins, they jump up to 5th.
Considering Patrick Reed is at 18, and he was at 42 on New Year's Day. Who was the other? Oh, Goddard.
It was Goddard who jumped up big, yeah.
Goddard was at 5. Now he's at Rose. 7. He was at 28. Rose was at 10. He was at 3, and now he's at 4. I mean, Scottie, Rory, and Tommy seem to be the only untouchables for now. I mean,
even Tommy's
Schauffele.
I would say Tommy's touchable. That sounds weird, but
yeah,
because
I mean,
Rory are the only two that.
Schauffele was at third and has moved now to 13. I mean, yeah, it's really fun. I mean, the fact that there's so much parity after 1 and 2 that everybody's kind of flip flopping around. Yeah, I would say it's a lot of fun. I mean, JJ Spawn, where was he before the U.S. Open last year? Like probably somewhere in the high 20s or low 30s, and now he's steady at like 5, 6, 7, 8 area.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he's still in there. We gave our picks like before the year on who we think was going to fall and who we thought was going to come into the top 10, and we've already seen a ton of movement. I mean, Goddard's in there, Morikawa's in there, Rose was at 10 and now he's up to 4, so he's really in the top 10 right now.
Yeah,
there's a lot going
on. We knew that Justin Thomas would fall, but because he hasn't played, and I think he'll play in 2 weeks. I think is kind of a rough estimate on him. So we won't see him at Riviera. I know he wanted to play some of those West Coast tournaments, but he's not going to rush his comeback from injury. But yeah, I'm really intrigued to where this leaderboard's going to fall with OWGR by the time that we get to Augusta.
Yeah. Also notable, Minwoo Lee up to 31st. He was at 52 before this week. So a pretty big jump for him after the T2 finish. That was kind of the only big riser. Akshay goes from 48 to 37. So he also moves up quite a bit. But those are kind of the only guys. Oh, Jon Rahm, after a really good performance in Adelaide, which we'll get to in a second, goes from 67 to 50. So those OWGR points now for Liv starting to kick in a little bit. Bryson's still at like 32 or 33. But Rahm with the runner-up finish gets a good amount of OWGR points. And yeah, Bridgman's still around the low 50 range. But yeah, I mean, he's played well. He was 81 to end 2025, and now he's up to 52. So great start for Jacob Bridgman. He's going to win on tour soon, I think.
I think so too. I think he's scratching the surface pretty heavily right now.
Yeah, Bridgman to kick off this year, T4, T13, T8, and now whatever he had last week, or this weekend, which was a T8 as well. So some really solid performances from Bridgman. All right, let's get to our predictions board. Luke, I have news that you are actually going to like. For the first time, I believe, this season, you have outscored me.
I won the Sony Open in Hawaii.
Did you?
I did.
I thought I did by like 30.
No. I'm very confident in this.
Okay.
I know this for a fact. First tournament of the year, I outscored you. Since then, it's been real bad.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't gain a ton on me, but you did. It was big for Rory. Big week for Rory. You needed that performance.
It's could be better.
Yeah, so I went with Siwoo Kim, who finished a T45, Ryo Hisatsune, a T8, Justin Rose, T37, and JJ Spawn, T45. You went with Ben Griffin, T37, Jake Knapp, T8, Rory McIlroy, T14, and Wyndham Clark, T58. Again, no cup this week, so everyone gets money. Don't have to worry about that. But it was Knapp and Rio. They both kind of canceled out for us, so that was big. Big that you got Rory in there for that past champion category, and gained about 250,000 on me.
That's the category that did kind of lead me to the win, because Griffin didn't get a ton more than Siwoo, and you mentioned it. Hisatsune and Knapp canceled each other out. So I was kind of taking a swing and a miss on Knapp, or a big swing. He played well last week, so I rocked with him this week, and that worked out. And then Spawn and Wyndham, I knew was kind of going to be a battle. I'll take it for Wyndham, because now he's done in that category for the year. So I wasn't expecting that I was going to win with Wyndham Clark. obviously going back, like it would have been perfect to use Morikawa here because I could see him doing nothing for the rest of the year in terms of really, really strong finishes. So
But Collin's
uh,
back, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Collin's
we'll
back.
see. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a chance, and like I was really, really hoping to see Spieth do something this week because it feels like it's like every week, like okay, this is it. Like if Spieth
And
doesn't do anything this
he
week, he's
competed for a
done.
little bit.
He did, yeah. I thought he had a real
What
chance.
did he finish? It wasn't great. Oh, T29.
Yeah, what did he shoot round four?
He shot even. Oh, he double bogeyed 18.
Oh, well, that'll do
Okay.
it.
Yeah. But he shot 66, 68, 69 the first 3 days. And he was in the 11th, I believe. So
What was his score at par?
13.
Yeah, so he was 8 strokes off,
He
right?
was way off. Yeah. He started
Yeah.
4 under on the day. 4 under through 6.
Wow.
And then he
Well,
goes bogey,
that
and then
that's the ride. That's the ride. Especially at Pebble Beach, man. Like you talk about Bridgman being all over the place. I mean, Spieth has literally shot shots that I've seen him hit shots, and if you watch golf, you've seen him hit shots where you're like, okay, he could die. Like this guy is on a cliff right now, shooting
Yeah.
hitting a golf ball. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's legitimately the craziest golfer of all time.
Yeah, on that 18th hole, he hit it OB to the right. You would expect him to hit it into the ocean, but he actually hit it
Yes.
to the right towards the houses, and then double bogey.
He at Jim Nance's house. Jim Nance has a house right there.
Maybe that there's a good chance it actually might have hit that house.
Jim Nance's house is right on Pebble Beach.
Yeah. Yeah, it really seemed like the driver was the big issue, kind of on those. Not driver, but just his tee shots were just a big issue for him. But yeah, T29 for him. All right. There was also another event. Or any final thoughts on Pebble Beach actually before we move on to Live?
No, it was a great week.
Yeah, great week for Pebble Beach. We've got again Riviera next week. Back to Riviera, a place we didn't get to last year. Due to the fires in California. So it'll be great seeing Riviera for the first time in a couple of years. Last year, this tournament was back at Torrey Pines, which then forced a lot of people to drop out of the Farmers. It's because then they were going back to back to Torrey Pines for the signature event. So a lot of things happening. Also want to point out Pebble Beach, host of the 2027 U.S. Open. So that will also be something to keep an eye on as we move into next year. I don't know what to be honest, I don't know. Do they host this event when they can't host this event when they have the U.S. Open at Pebble?
I would imagine not.
Yeah,
That's a great question.
I don't know what they do, but yeah, let's go to Live, where Live Adelaide happened, which is the Live's equivalent of the WM Phoenix Open, and
isn't every Live event the equivalent of the WM Phoenix Open?
Yeah, but this one's crazy, or I think it's supposed to be crazier. I don't know, but Anthony Kim goes out and shoots 9 under on Saturday night, Sunday. It would be Sunday in Australia, but Saturday night in the U.S. and beats Jon Rahm by 3. And oh boy, did he go on a heater to end his round. I am pulling it up now. So if you want to talk, Luke, go ahead. But I know he went on a heater.
Yes, he did. I gotta say, like, this was probably the most notable Live event maybe they've had in terms of attention. Like, Mason and I obviously follow golf pretty heavily, and I have never seen the amount of notoriety that a Live event has ever gotten. Adelaide, the crowds were great. Kim has kind of become like this fiery, intense dude that people really seem to like. He kind of tells it like it is. He's been through a lot. He like has literally been like everything, like in terms of just his status. Like he has kind of been completely all over the place. Is this his first year back in 10 years or something?
This is something his 3rd year back because he came back to Live 2 years ago, and then got kicked off of Live because of his performance. His best week ever on Live was a T22 before this week. So then I forgot what team he was on beforehand, but then he had to qualify through the open qualifiers that Live had to get back onto Live as a wild card. He gets to Live as a wild card, and then a couple weeks later, or basically before this week, he gets the call from Four Aces to replace Patrick Reed. So he replaces Patrick Reed on Four Aces, and this is his first week playing for Four Aces, and shoots a 9 under 63, including birdieing 5 of his last 7 holes to absolutely blow Jon Rahm out of the water on this one. It was dominance. And not only that, but a T22 last week at Riyadh, which last week was his best performance. Or was it? Riyadh wasn't last week, but whenever that happened, February. Oh, it was last week. Yeah, so that was his best performance on Live before this. And then, a win. He gets a win. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very difficult to not be a fan of his. He's battled alcoholism, mental health, confidence. He's been through it, and to go out there and play the way he did, it's very, very difficult to not be a fan of Anthony Kim after this weekend.
Yeah, and who knew that, Liv signs all these big names like Jon Rahm, Bryson, and all that.
Yeah,
But
it's
the thing that's pulling
Anthony
people
Kim.
in
Yeah,
is Anthony Kim. So, pretty crazy stuff. I mean, you look at this leaderboard. Rahm was second. Bryson and Tyrrell Hatton were T3. So this leaderboard was stacked. And, it's Anthony Kim that pulls through, who, again, was 3 shots back heading into, I believe might have been 5. I think it was 5 strokes back heading into the final round, and he pulls through and wins not only wins but wins by 3, which is just great stuff. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all we've got on the rundown. Any final closing thoughts for Pebble Week before we head to Riviera next week, Luke?
no, I'm really looking forward to Riviera. I think that the fact that this is the course that they're going to use for the Olympics in 2028 is important to keep that in mind. And it's always a good week. Tiger Woods, he's had a huge hand in designing this course and everything. So we'll talk more about it on Wednesday. But yeah, really looking forward to what next week brings. And I think that the golf juices are kind of flowing now with how this week was. I think a lot of people outside of the world of golf were tuned in, were interested in what was going on, which is always a good sign and always kind of where we are in mid-February. So things only can really get up from here, and we look forward to continue covering it.
Yeah, again, you can find all of our stuff, Sunday Flags Pod, pretty much wherever on social media. You can follow Luke at Luke Brown Sports on Twitter, myself, Mason_Kinnahan on Twitter. But yeah, well, I mean, it really feels like golf season is back. I know before you had the first few events, it was fun seeing the guys back out there. But this week, really, signature event right after the Super Bowl, it's definitely golf season now. You can feel it. So a lot to look forward to here on the PGA Tour and on other tours as well over the next few months. Before you know it, we'll get into major season and all of that. So a lot of great coverage coming here on Sunday Flags throughout this season. But for Luke Brown, I have been Mason Kinnahan, and we'll see you next time.